It's so good to be back here again today. It's a Tuesday morning, of course, the 11th day of April 2023. My name is Janice Coburn. Thank you so much for being a part of Rise and Shine, your early morning status. Welcome.
Good morning, Africa. Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, Akwa Ibom State. It's a beautiful day to rise and shine wherever you are. My name is Uyai Aneka, and thanks for joining us. Of course, let's not forget to be a spectrumtv.ng. We'd also have a phone lines displayed in the course of the program. Please do well to call us, send us your WhatsApp or text messages, and let's have your contributions on the issues that will be raised on the floor of Rise and Shine.
Yeah, your contributions are very much expected on the show this morning. Good morning, Uyai.
Good morning, Janice.
Yesterday I was in town. It was quite pathetic to see that the cash crunch is still persistent, and a lot of people still clogging at bank halls and ATM machines ports, to try to get money. And it's quite surprising also. I think I needed to do a POS transaction, and for 5,000 naira I was being charged a 500 naira. And just as I was about to conclude that transaction, I just had another person, 5,000 naira. If you're not doing the 300 that the next person is doing, then forget about it. Can I have my card, please? And that was how I collected my card and moved. So it still brings us to the point where we say that Nigerians are the problems Nigerians are having, because people just feel that, okay, this is an opportunity for them to, milk others. You find out that even the person, sitting by the side of the road and doing a side business, a side hustle, you're still also very greedy. I think it's just an attitudinal problem that we have in this particular country. It was really saddening.
I can imagine what it's like. Still in the last couple of weeks, I don't think I've been able to lay my hands on cash. I've still had to buy money, in all of those things. The queues are still persisting with the CBN, but the cash crunch, in all honesty, is still persisting. It has abated just a little bit. So we have the queues are not as intense as they used to be, and maybe the POS agents have a little more access to money. That's why the prices have, relatively come down, but it's still difficult for a lot of people. It's not still that situation of walking to a bank or an ATM point and get your money. So all of that is still very uncomfortable at this time for most people.
Yeah, but again, let's even look at POS operators. I think it's a serious issue. I was listening to someone was talking. I was talking to somebody for charges across different states, or even in the same state, we're having different POS agents charged differently. It's quite serious, and I think that there needs to be some intervention somewhere. I don't know how we are going to do it, but there is a need for some intervention somewhere. The government should look into the issue of POS operators. Nobody should milk other Nigerians dry, because we are going through the same situation. It's the same way it's difficult for every other person to do that. So why want to charge exorbitant prices just because you want to eat fat, on other people? It's really serious. But again, welcome once again to Rise and Shine Daily. Of course, like we said, it's a Tuesday morning, and the holidays are over, and everybody should be at work as we speak, or you're on your way to your value for your time. But first and foremost, we go to our major stories of the morning, and these are stories making the rounds. The United Kingdom has placed Nigeria on the red list of countries that should not be actively targeted for recruitment by health and social care employers. Now, this is coming 1 month after the World Health Organization listed 55 countries, including Nigeria, facing the most pressing health workforce challenges related to universal health coverage. United Kingdom government said Nigeria and other countries on the red list should not be actively targeted for recruitment. The website of the UK government, titled Code of Practice for the International Recruitment of Health and Social Care Personnel in England, it said country identification follows the methodology contained in the 10-year review of relevance and effectiveness of the WHO Global Code of Practice on the international recruitment of health personnel. By the WHO Global Code of Practice 10-year review, the listed countries should be prioritized for health personnel development and health system-related support, provided with safeguards that discourage active international recruitment of health personnel. Countries on this list should not be actively targeted for recruitment by health and social care. or manage recruitment undertaken strictly in compliance with the terms of that agreement. Yeah, it brings us to, I think at this point, we just take a listen to a particular clip that we got from AIT, where the House of Representatives is pushing that doctors, because of the brain drain going down in the health sector, particularly that a bill should be passed where they say that doctors should not be given their back. So we'll listen to this particular clip, and of course we'll be back to the conversation.
That there is heavy decline on medical brain drain from 24,000 to now, as I speak, we have less than 10,000 doctors in Nigeria. So that is alarming. So I now thought to myself that, okay, let us look at our laws, what is happening. I noticed that, look, the vacuum is that immediately after husbandship, you know, we noticed that most doctors, because of greener pastures, there is a capital flight from Nigeria abroad to UK, America, and all that. Now, government has invested so much money in training these medical doctors. So if you realize, if they can now take opened healthcare and visa to people, they were all going to UK and US too, and Canada. So what should we do? Should we fold our arms? So now, to make your money, but if government has subsidized your tuition, okay, I mean to the tune of 40 to 150,000, the least we can get from you is that after your husbandship, before you are given full license, it's yes, before you are giving back to the society.
Okay.
All right. We sincerely give credit to AIT for that particular clip there. But this is what is happening in the House of Representatives. A bill is trying to be passed for doctors to like give in 5 years into the health sector of the country before they are.
At this point, first off, is where, you know, I like to question the motive behind policies. Why are you, you know, raising these kinds of policies? Why do you want these kinds of things implemented? Sometimes it sounds noble, it sounds like it's for the people, but why not look into the issues that, you know, are plaguing the Nigerian Medical Association? Why are you not looking into the move to use a law to hold them hostage in the country? After training for, you know, 6-7 years, you now want to keep them compulsorily in the country that they don't feel, you know, is offering them the opportunities that they want in their professional field. You now want to use a law to clamp down on them. Of course, but that policy is absolutely ill-advised. It's not a policy that has been properly thought through. Keeping the doctors down, is there a guarantee that they are going to give back to, you know, the society because you did not allow them to travel? What are the guarantees around such policies? And to solve a problem by creating more problems, you know, by the use of the law. This is just absolutely ill-advised. And if we have other, you know, right-thinking policymakers in, you know, the assembly, they should absolutely kick against this. But sometimes, you know, these people are, you know, standing in a place where they have what they are protecting of their, you know, in the first place. This is more like having doctors to work on that duress if you actually also look at it, you know, squarely. There's also going to be a lot of people that are going to be like, let me just finish this, handling any issue here.
Okay, let's even look at, you know, some of the things that the NMA national president had said sometime last year, you know, concerning why the Japa syndrome is really intense in the medical sector. I think sometime last year, he said that doctors in Nigeria are underpaid. That's one. and then they lack the basic of the country's health sector. Now, let's go further to look at some of the other things that he mentioned, and which is very, very critical as we even try to analyze this issue. Now, there is also what he calls the Abuja 2001 Abuja Declaration that recommends, look, our health sector is depleted, depleted of manpower, depleted of facility, depleted of even a conducive environment. I was giving you a story the other day where I had a friend that needed to do a surgery, and therefore every time, and then this thing keeps happening over and over again until one day she got tired and said, okay, fantastic. She goes into the market, buys rechargeable lamps, comes back to her house, charges these rechargeable lamps, and takes it to the hospital and the theater where she was supposed to have the surgery. So it's as bad as that.
Horrid stories.
Yes. So if the government is saying fantastic, we know the implication of our manpower being depleted in the health sector. Because I think one of the guests we had one time like that was trying to also, look at these issues when we talked about brain drain. When doctors are leaving the health sector, it goes a long way to show that for every 1,000 or 2,000 or 5,000 people, we will be struggling. Know that it's that bad, and it will get worse if we continue to have this brain drain continue in the health sector particularly. But has the government actually taken time to look at what the health sector is suffering? Have they also
demands are?
Yeah, we had some time that in the hospital, the clinic of the Aso Rock hospitals that are government owned. You go to hospitals, there is no light, the whole place is dilapidated. So you're asking, what exactly is happening? Why is the government not even allocating enough money to go around or to fund the health sector properly? Then the worst part is we are saying doctors should not leave. Fantastic. I'm not saying doctors should leave either, because it also has a very negative effect on the economy and even in our health sector. But when we have politicians that will run away from this country, and we are here trying to pass a bill for doctors to remain and put in 5 years before they are even given their licenses, I think it's misplaced priorities. Let's deal with the root causes of what is wrong with our health sectors before we even begin to say, okay, doctors, we have given you this, we have given you the equipment, we have given you the conducive environment,
and all of that. You now want to still add, more stringent measures to it. Do you even want more people, do you want to have more undergraduates actually going into the field? Because if you remember, while we were young and growing up, the medical field sounded like a very lucrative professional field for most people to go into. But when we begin to see all these kinds of stories coming out, the government on one hand trying to sabotage their efforts, and the doctors, at the end of the day, yes, it is the health sector that they are working for humanity, but they need to be sustained themselves. They have responsibilities, they have bills, and certain jobs that you do demand into the work, and the environment should be such that when you go to work, you're working under conducive conditions. If you take a tour of most medical facilities in the state or in the country, they are deplorable. Some places, I was somewhere last week, and then there was a nursing mother who came with her child, and she said she's been there for the child, and I'm like, why are you risking the life of your child waiting for this particular facility? Why don't you look for a way and get to the urban center for you to inoculate your child so that you don't get into any kind of problems? These are the things that people face when the government is not making the investments that you ought to make. At this point, you will not necessarily say that the fault is that of the doctors. To a very large extent, their employer of labor is tying their hands. There's little to nothing they can do. They are not going to manufacture drugs themselves. They are not going to make the equipment available. You're talking of hospitals that do not have electricity, and these are the places that ailing people are staying. This place is supposed to be in top-notch condition, but we don't see that happening in most places. So, but this particular bill, which has passed second reading as pushed by Ganiyu Johnson, is absolutely ill-advised. Does this take us as a country when you put down these laws? Like we talked about the other day, the hastiness to suddenly pass bills into law in this last minute is something that we do not understand. You have all been seated there for the past 8 years. You've seen health workers attempt to go on strike and all that to this. Yesterday, we talked about the fact that our major problem is the fact that we are wasteful as a people, you know, wasteful as a government. Let us cut out some of the areas where we are spending, take out those monies and invest in the sectors that are ailing the most in the country. But rise up to say that this is unacceptable is a move that will further paralyze the health sector in Nigeria.
Plunge it,
Yeah.
actually plunge it. Anyways, majority of lawmakers supported the bill, although some called for flexibility and options in the proposed law. But there was a particular member of the House, Uzoma Nkem Abonta, overseas. But then again, if you're saying that, you know, doctors should put in 5 years as a way to giving back to a country that has facilitated their trainings and all of that, and also subsidized their trainings, you know, to a large extent, I think it is okay to say that. Okay, but I think also that let us address the major issues, the root causes of some of this, you know, Japa syndrome, of the brain drain itself. When you address the things that are more like priorities, then a lot of doctors would not leave. But let's not also forget the fact that most of those doctors leave out of greed. Okay, it's not just about there is no conducive environment and all of that. He just wants to get trained and leave the country to cater for, you know, the teeming health challenges that we have in the country. It's quite serious.
I also think that, as you know, something else that will stem down that brain drain is the fact that when you begin to have more foreign countries say, okay, government to government agreement, we have certain guidelines that say that Nigeria is one of the countries on their list where medical and health workers cannot
the same
be purged.
UK opened the doors, Canada opened the doors some years ago, I think.
Even
about
last
year,
year,
yes, opened their doors wide to recruit doctors that were willing to come over.
Maybe some of these questions, you know, and international diplomatic conversations have, you know, given cause for them to go back and look into the guidelines of government to government agreement, and that's why they're now saying it. So you can also expect that in the next couple of weeks, months into years, you're going to have you might see more difficulty for doctors leaving Nigeria to get to work in the United Kingdom, depending if they follow the guidelines that have just been stated.
Let them address the root causes of this Japa syndrome or the brain drain.
No, but we are saying from the international community perspective that fixing the health sector is not something that any foreign country is going to come and do for you.
I'm talking about my government.
Yes, absolutely, your government, right?
Because
you
it's
know,
my government.
the federal government has to come and do something about it if you don't want them. And then saying UK is just one foreign country. There are other foreign countries in the world that are given better medical opportunities. And if they do not have this government to government agreement, you can also
put a pause on that conversation there. But just like we have said, I think that while we are trying to push for Nigerian doctors to sacrifice 5 years as giving back to the country before they get their full licenses, we should also, as government, do what is needed, what is our priority, and which is checking the root causes of some of this brain drain. And I think the country will be a better one for all of us. Why are we still having it here? As much as the the AIG, now the IGP now, you know, is trying to cleanse the whole police system and purge it of some of these ill vices that we get to see in the police force. The more he does it, the more we continue to see some of those things happen. It was quite pathetic to see this kind of embarrassment and harassment. Just take a listen to this video and then we'll come back.
Now, of course, this disturbing video actually surfaced on the internet yesterday, and it's been an unidentified man on a highway in Port Harcourt, Nigeria. Now, we could clearly hear him asking the policeman, "Did I steal? Why exactly are you hitting him with something and slapping him across the face?" one of the two policemen was seen holding a rifle in one hand and with the other hand raising a wooden cane in an attempt to flog the man who was, of course, under slabs from the policeman who was asking him to get into a car, suspected to be the man's. Now, there was a woman with the man who was forced into the car by, another policeman.
Of course,
while
yes.
that happened, someone was making a video of the scenario. Now, several questions are being raised. I'm concerned when we also have these events happening. The people who are making the video, is this a part of the police force? Is it one of them who is making this video, or is it someone else who might have, been packed? Or
once this thing gets on social media, it will go viral, and people, related authorities will definitely see this, and there'll be a lot of dragging, and people will see this. So a passerby could just, be passing and see this kind of harassment and brings out his phone. That was risky too, because if they get you,
because
you're
why
in
I even
trouble.
ask the question is that video was taken at a very close pause, and then for just laughed. You know that sometimes it looks like these people are not reasoning. So one of them can actually be perpetrating that evil and another one is videoing, and you don't know when.
For laughs.
Yeah, really, for laughs.
Psychological problems.
Exactly. So when I was watching the video yesterday, I'm like, it feels like a lot of people on the force are not mentally stable for the job. Because why do you just see someone telling him of, bad,
whatever it is this man has done?
Processes. There are processes.
Why do you treat somebody like that, a grown-up, in front of his wife? It's really disheartening.
It's disheartening. And my only problem with this is that what we are going to receive is going to be statements upon statements.
Oh, yes, statements.
It's because of Usman Alkali, who is the boss, of the Nigeria Police Force. Beyond promising to clean up the police force, there needs to be more decisive activities taken. We have said it here before.
There has been decisive actions. We have seen
I feel like they need psychoanalysis.
Okay.
To be mentally evaluated, for how stable they are to be on the road. These things are absolutely unacceptable.
Anyways, the Rivers State Police Command has commenced investigation into the police assault and brutality of a man in a video trending on social media. Now, the video when DJB has condemned the assault of this particular video, and it also reacted, assured that the perpetrators will be arrested. Quite unfortunate. Now, and I'm quoting him, "I have asked the Rivers State Command to fish them out. This is unpoliced, unethical, and condemned. Adejobi treated. Whatever the man must have done, he doesn't deserve this beating. Beating him like a baby, a grown-up man, we will surely get the men." So this is the spokesperson of the Nigerian Police Force, Olumuyiwa Adejobi, talking now, and then we are going to hold him. Nigerians are going to hold him by his words to make sure that this particular man. I also know that the Rivers State Police Command has also responded to this particular video that went viral. But the police, the public relations officer of the state command, Grace Iringe Koko, said the policeman in the video had been identified, adding that the incident happened at Eli Brada Junction in Emoha local government area of the state. And then she also said, I think
it should even go beyond that particular policeman. The entire squad, should be investigated and addressed. Because how do you see one of your own perpetrating that evil and you did not see any other policeman saying, "Okay, this is not the way to be."
Yes.
Right, because we also see the other policeman collaborating with him and forcing the woman into the vehicle. So it goes beyond just the person with the stick. Everybody on that particular detail needs to be punished, actually.
Take a short breather now, and join Mary Joseph, who's standing by for the news brief. And when we come back, obviously we'll have more conversations coming up, daily spotlights, where we get to share details of the stories on the front pages of our national dailies, and also allow Nigerians the opportunity to also contribute and have their say. And of course, we'll be looking at a focused conversation talking about peace and reconciliation in Nigeria, post-election issues. We'll be right back shortly. Just stay with us.
heads of state and government, Secretary General, distinguished delegates.
A very good morning to you and welcome to your morning news brief on Spectrum from Uyo. I am Joseph. We begin the news brief with a report that President Muhammadu Buhari will today embark on an 8-day state visit to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, where he is expected to perform Umrah, the lesser pilgrimage. This was made known in a statement signed by his senior special assistant publicity, Garba Shehu. She is not the regulator of the content of social media. The submission came during a recent visit with the National Civil Society Council of Nigeria, NCSCN, led by its Executive Secretary Blessing Akin-Solutu, who sought the intervention of the Commission on the worrisome and misleading content of social media platforms. Meanwhile, the federal transparency and accountability in the exercise. All that the state NPC office on Sunday trained 75 Jumat mosque imams on sanitization and sensitization on enlightenment for the 2023 population enhancing seasonal exchange between the two warring countries. The United Ukraine President's Chief of Staff Andrei Yermak said on Telegram that the exchange included troops who held out in Mariupol, the devastated port city captured by Russia last spring, and that some were seriously injured. And finally, in sport, championships leaders Burnley celebrated their return to the Premier League with victory over second-place Sheffield United, who played most of the game. But the visitors kept Burnley, who sealed an immediate return to the top flight on Friday, out of the remainder of the first half at Turf Moor. We'll have details of the stories and more in our news at 12. I'm Mary Joseph. Let's head back to Rise and Shine, where we have Janice and Uyai on standby. To have a wonderful morning.
Heads of state.
It is to recover from the lapses taken to county.
Business exists only to meet the needs of the people, but there's an extra advantage if your product and services are pitched on a platform that gives you the added advantage over your competitors. For your desired return on investment and so much more, advertise on Spectrum Television, on StarTimes DTH Channel 421 and on free-to-air with a frequency of 12733. Spectrum Television.
Welcome back. This is Rise and Shine, and we're coming to you live from Uyo, the capital city of Akwa Ibom State, Nigeria. We've already had several conversations, and a way for you to catch up on all that is to follow us on social media. You can find all that at spectrumtv.ng. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Facebook, and Instagram so that you can always have Spectrum TV and Rise and Shine. You in the House of Representatives has moved a bill which has passed second reading in the House of Reps for medical doctors in Nigeria to serve upwards of 5 years before they can be given their licenses. Of course, we've seen the Nigerian Medical Association kick against the idea of police harassment of a certain young man. Of course, the Nigeria police in Port Harcourt has moved, in Rivers State, I beg your pardon, has moved, into action, and they have identified the said policeman, and we do hope that, certain punitive measures and correction will be carried out. Mary Joseph brought us tidbits of global news. At this point, we're going to be moving straight into Daily Spotlight, where we'll
On Daily Spotlight this morning, let's take a look at some of the stories on the front pages. A waste of time. And the writer says, Labour's candidate was PDP member when he picked ticket. Election conducted in compliance with Electoral Act, agency insists. We also have Bola Jibola there. Cash flow from banks still low, says Nigeria Labour Congress. Congress awaits reports. That page 15 to 17 is where you get that story. NMA seeks better environment for doctors, others to operate. You can get details of that story on page 5. Another story here says National Assembly APC governor-elect rejects life pension plan by incumbent. Yeah, serious worries here. Very serious worries. Governor-elect rejects life pension plan by incumbent. Yeah. You also said you're very particular and worried about some of the actions that are being taken at wrap-up time. Yes. In some governments. The federal government is doing the same, and we're seeing a state government here do same. And then you're not asking, is your incumbent or it's your governor-elect, the person that is going to succeed you, is the person going to be comfortable with some of these bills you're being passed?
Exactly. What platform are you giving them? But then again, you also see that is a platform. Okay, our very next paper now this morning will be This Day newspaper. We'll take This Day newspaper, and the big story there says, with 50 days to go, Buhari defends choice of service chief. Lowest point, states Adesina. His ailment was a setback, presidency admits. We have here Tinubu Obi eulogize Afenifere leader Ayo Adebanjo at 95. He's been consistent in fight for social justice, says President. World Bank urged Nigeria others to provide targeted financing to SMEs. INEC replies APP, says electronic collation of results not mandatory. Obi, first commercial vessel arrives Lekki Deep Sea Port. And those are all the stories that we have on the front page of This Day newspaper.
Okay, we move now to our very next paper, and that will be the Nigerian Tribune. On the Nigerian Tribune today, we have that the big story says key players kick as more states move to build. Government officials account for between 80 to 90% of passenger traffic. NCAA must demand business plans for state airports. Blaming NCAA amounts to lack of knowledge, spokesperson. These are all the riders on the particular story of the big story on the front page of Nigerian Tribune. You can find reports risk collapse if nothing is done. MPA raises alarm. Prosecutes Lai Mohammed for fake news dissemination. Clark tells federal government. Prosecutes Lai Mohammed for fake death, injures others in Ondo. Quite a sad story there. 19 Constitution Amendment Bill rejected by Buhari have automatically become laws. Falano. Okay. And then the writer says knocks president for rejecting bill to rescue twin reading in House of Reps in 45 months. And the writer says 83 bills awaiting concurrence, 52 harmonized bills by Buhari. And any Muslim vying for Senate presidency has no respect for Nigerian morning.
Let's take the Daily Sun this morning and look at the stories that we have there on the front page of Daily Sun. The big story there says Clark calls for minister's arrest and trial over treason allegation. Accuses Lai Mohammed of spreading fake news against Obi. Bajo Afeba Balola Ojo eulogized at Jibola. Any Muslim aspiring for Senate president disrespectful to leaders Buhari, Tinubu, APC, NWC member Waikalu should occupy the seat. Ebonyi, Ogba, PDP differ on 2023 polls. Rally support for Governor-elect Nwifuru. Khan slams makers of peak milk over insensitive Good Friday advert. Okay. Obedience must bear attacks as sacrifice for new Nigeria, says Obi. Says effort straight year down 20.5%. Okay, we also have news here. Buhari leaves for Saudi Arabia today. His last presidential trip, of course, to the nation. And that's all the stories that we have on the front page of the Daily Sun.
I think we'll be taking our very last paper this morning. The writer says Ndume Kanu, Niger senators poised to contest, says Senate needs competent hands. Any Muslim aspiring to be Senate president, says spokesman. We have that enumerators indicted for sexual harassment will be dismissed. Enumerators indicted for sexual harassment will be dismissed. I don't know if you saw that story.
Yeah, very pathetic one, actually.
And the one that is more breaking, talking of course, serious concerns.
41% that leaves us at 50%
almost
of
50% of
Nigerians.
Nigerians. Buhari should suspend fuel subsidy removal, declares marketers. Youth traction will cost $800 million, says MPA boss. And that's all the stories that we have on the front page of a national dailies this morning. Quite interesting stories, I must say, from all of the papers that we have over treason allegations, serious issues. I like the fact that our focus conversation this morning is on peace and reconciliation, because that seemed to form like the caucus of all the Easter, admonitions. Then we also have things that we need to deal with, and Clark is calling for minister's arrest, trial over treason allegations there, and accuses Lai Mohammed of spreading fake news against the man Peter Obi. But at this point, let's just give Nigerians the opportunity to have their say. Please do also call us on the phone lines that will be displayed on your television screen. And let's know 41% in 2023. That is another very serious case that we have in our hands as a country. And if you're saying that we cannot provide employment for the teeming youths that we churn out of our universities almost every year, then it's a serious problem. We are trying to deal with crime on one hand, but we will not give credence to such actions, by young people getting into vices and all of that. But we are also happy that we said something. As the government is trying to pass bills, the root causes of some of these issues should be dealt with decisively. Let's take our first caller for the morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
This lie against Obi.
Okay, go ahead.
Again, there are things I saw. They say the matter should go to court. But to leave the court to decide, it's not the people that we should decide. Let the judiciary be upright so that we should know that they are out to do it. They don't do well. Then now they have that they make
I think we're losing connection
that
there.
allow the people to say, Jonathan did not do well. We enjoy Jonathan administration. There is no single project that we can rises of goods and services. People are moving out of the country, and we are voting that we are doing good things. Like this man was lying in China yesterday, that yes, they have tried. To me,
All
right, thank you so much, Jibril.
Is very, 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 pumped with the situation happening in Nigeria. Of course, we saw one of our elder statesmen, Edwin Clark, say that Lai Mohammed should actually be arrested, and conversations of
treason?
What was that?
Treason, yes, against the vice presidential candidate, and of course the Labour Party presidential candidate.
It just doesn't. A lot of things are not like we continue to say. They don't hold water. You don't think it through. You just want to do it. And for the very first time, we've seen an attempt to push a lot of propaganda.
But when you say it doesn't hold water, let's come back there. That look, what the vice presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Baba Ahmed Dati, said was actually out of the, it was beyond the mark.
Who himself has come under a lot of fire. I don't even know
he
how
has come under a lot of fire. Does not also mean that people shouldn't have their opinions about things. Definitely. So there are people that will react to those kinds of comments. But when you look at it, people would have diverse opinions. Now there are people that think that we had presidential elections.
All right, let's take this particular call. Hello. Good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from? Good morning. Turn down the volume of your television set, please, so that we can hear you.
Good morning.
Good morning. Your name and where you're calling from?
Good morning.
Good morning. We can hear you. What's your name and why you calling? Okay, I think we're having problems with the connection. Can you hear us? Can you hear us, sir? Okay, we just need to take down that particular call.
Because I actually think it's like phone to your ear, not like phone to your screen. So just use your phone to your ear. Don't attempt to hear us from the
in half-smith conversations and not really get to be hearing ourselves back and forth. Okay, let's take this caller. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
This is Mr. Olariwaju from Katsina.
Olariwaju from Katsina. Please go ahead.
Reaction. See this man, Chief Olusegun Obasanjo. This man tried to divide this Nigeria. This is a virus. This is passing to the people because you are the former. You have been there with a civilian for complete 8 years. Why can't you make the law that time? Before the election, you carry Obi. You are not the only former head of state we have. Gowon was there. Babangida was there. Abdul Salam was there. Everybody has their own candidate. Secretly. Why are you?
Olariwaju, he only endorsed, and every other person had their preferred candidate.
Exactly.
He's not done anything again afterwards.
Listen, the quality of this type of person voice is different to your own.
What for Peter Obi?
This Obi movement. Obasanjo statement motivates them.
No,
That's what I'm saying.
no, I think I really, differ from that. The obedience movement had a lot of strength and zest way
You are a
before
Labour Party.
Obasanjo came.
You yourself, your
No,
statement is
you
here.
can't
Prove
say
that
that.
you are a
Follow the
Labour Party
precedents.
member.
When did we have Olusegun Obasanjo come out to endorse? That was like about
endorsement from somebody like an Olusegun Obasanjo.
But you can't say that that has affected how the polity is being played as of now.
Anyway, let's take another call. Nigerians have diverse opinions about issues.
Exactly.
Hello, good morning.
Oh, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
What's your name and where are you calling us from?
Okay, I am Elizabeth. I'm calling from Delta. That you did not like the statement.
No, I didn't say I didn't like the statement. I only said that Nigerians have diverse opinions about what he said. Some people have actually...
Okay, because my little way I understood his statement, he never said anything. He said if the president meets the constitutional right, then he can be elected. Taking this, and I believe our Nigeria election based on constitutional right of this nation. If the incoming president, he is talking about, let everything,
as was stated by that environment, because it's very entrepreneurs. You have why you think it is young peace in the country. It doesn't really matter if the person is black or white. I think it's how are we going about these things.
Exactly. Yeah. That's another big one altogether.
Exactly.
But let's take this call. Hello, good morning. Very quickly.
All right, I saw the video that this man is very bad. Generally, is very bad. He's very brief. They don't do that. The police are not respecting their seat that the senior officials have already stepped into the matter.
Yes, and the police command in Rivers State says that they have identified the core and they have
wounds that they're giving to Nigerian youth is not still yet die off.
All right. Thank you so much, Patrick.
Thank you, Patrick.
All right. Do have a great day.
Yes, to the seat of the Senate President. And, some NWC members in APC are saying, okay, we cannot have, Muslim, tickets.
Good morning, ladies in the house.
Good morning. We know your voice.
Okay, thank
Go
you.
ahead.
This is as a result of inability of people that is in power to do what they're supposed to do. The credible people will work. And that is why I find out in so many places people are crying out that.
Okay.
And then talking about the data, I was one that this situation they're supposed to act as a mother. Because in some certain situation, in a way that it will bring peace. That very day he was so angry and he was speaking out of anger. And it doesn't supposed to be so.
The segment and go to our focus conversation. APC kicks as Northern senators insist on Senate precedents. Vice President in the person of Kashim Shettima. And we are going to be having another, about federal character principle. We are talking about peace and reconciliation. But please turn down the volume of your television sets, please. Turn down the volume of your television set. Yes, we can hear you. Okay. Good morning. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
Okay. What I want to say is
what's your name, sir?
That those people who are criticizing Obasanjo should realize that the movement of obedience. So Obasanjo, as a citizen, has the right to either disabuse it or support it or disapprove any candidate of his wish. So anybody who is criticizing about it, obedient movement. Thank you.
All right, thank you so
Michael
much,
from Cross River State. Okay, great response there. But then let's just finish up on that conversation on the the move for the Senate there. But then we are also having this conversation where we are seeing have a Muslim as the Senate president at this time. If we already have a Muslim ticket flying for the president, you can't make the third most important seat also that give room to other people in the country, even if they are pagan. Audacity of conversation for the push for that particular seat by certain people of the northern extracts. You are wondering like
so you see that it was part of the conversation we had yesterday where we are saying that is it more like following the federal character principle now? Is it more like we are beginning to like tilt it? We had on the papers yesterday where they said the certain group has endorsed Ojus Okalu for the Senate presidency. I saw somewhere that Gospel Akpabio is still in the race for that particular position, even though he's been very quiet about it. But just like we said, maybe some underground jobs. And Jido Joe made mention of the fact that, look, you cannot get power by an a la carte, you know, power by all the, you know, back end jobs that you have to do to make sure that you get power into your hands and all of that. So we'll definitely see how this unfolds. But then again, I don't also think that it is right for us to have a Muslim as a president, a Muslim as a, you know, the judgment of the incoming government, of the president-elect, to be able to phantom all those things and put all those things together for the betterment of the country. Of course, he has always said that he's the unifier.
He doesn't come and tell you again that, you know, a person of this extract and a person of this religion was the best man fit for the job. Do you understand? That was the explanation he gave us for, you know, fielding Shetima. So it might still be an explanation that he has for who they are already fielding for the seat of the president.
We want competence.
Absolutely.
We need to take a breather. And of course, when we come back, we'll be looking at peace and reconciliation as post-election issues still continues in the country. To stay with us. When we come back, we are going to be bringing our guest, Victor Nilaju, who will be joining us from Lagos State. Just stay.
Several conversations have happened on here. The only way you can catch up with that is to follow us across all the social media platforms. You'd find that at spectrumtv.ng. At this time, we'll be navigating into our clergymen, the President of the Federal Republic, the Vice President, and several other outstanding Nigerians. What have we been pushing for and clamoring for since after the February 25th and March 18th elections? At this time, joining us to have this conversation is Victor Anilaji, who is the founder of ePay and himself a former presidential aspirant under the People's Democratic Party. And
good morning. Thank you for having me.
Great.
So nice to see your faces again. It's so nice to be on your show.
Awesome.
Thank you. Why do I feel that your topic today is a setup for me?
No, it's not a setup.
Because I do not think that I come in peace.
Exactly, because that's going to be my, that was going to be my first question. Do you actually believe in this?
I believe in reconstruction. I believe in development. But in all of this, there can never be a peace or reconciliation without justice. So the issue here is, why don't you replace that word peace for justice? Because for any society to attain that level of peace, because peace is not the process. Peace is after a series of transactions. After justice, you get peace. So I find it so difficult why the APC government, without justice, the right way for we to attain peace in Nigeria today is for us to create room for justice. Nigerians are bleeding. Nigerians are highly disappointed.
Okay, so
after an election, after every election, it doesn't come peace. Post-election is not a period of peace. It's a period where justice is being served, right? So, and once people get justice, they will be at peace. I don't care losing an election, but let me lose through the justice system, right? I don't care if anybody I'm supporting is going to lose an election. The government is calling for peace. I don't know how do they want to achieve this peace.
Now,
they should be able to
Victor,
tell us how they want to achieve it.
Victor Anilaju, so it's not about the APC here. It's about a lot of other Nigerians that think that the election have come, the election has gone. The election has, you know, torn the country apart a little bit, but we still need our country together. Nigeria is the only country that we have. So I think that a lot more people are the people pushing for this peace and reconciliation. But you know where the clause of all of this conversation is now? Is that they are even asking the incoming government to make sure that...
I don't see that being possible, especially when it's coming from APC. APC is the incoming government that you are talking about here.
Of course, yes.
I really don't see. You see, except we just want to sound formal on air and just say things that people want to hear. You can't deprive millions of Nigerians who voted for a particular candidate, and you deprive them of their choice, and you want to speak of peace. For me, this has been the issue that we are facing as a people. You know what people are, what the APC government is trying to tell us? Forget about the injustice. What are we going to move on with? Every country is built on hope. We had hope in the person that we wanted to vote for. We went to the polling unit, we voted for that person. You turn it the other way around, you took our hope from us, you are telling us to be at peace. I don't understand. There can be no peace without justice. There can be no peace without hope.
I think that we perceive most Nigerians want it. What if in actual sense, okay, his network, has, breached again, but what if in actual sense, this particular presidential candidate did not win the elections? Because I think this is something we need to also have as okay, Anilaju, you are back. I'm asking, when we are fielding the emotion, but what if in all counting and all standards, this particular person in question did not win the elections? Is it not worth it that we sheath our swords and move on, from this particular place that we seem to be putting the country in?
Let's not also forget that the Labour Party even came third in the elections.
Yes, it wasn't even the second runner-up in the
Labour Party was not the second.
That is the rigged result now. We have at the polling unit, I was driven away by 14 guys. See, we can't sit in our AC studio and determine the mind or the fate of Nigerians. Nigerians are bitter. Anybody coming to talk to us, you starve us and you tell us be peaceful. But that period is over until we start standing for justice. We are not standing for peace right now. This is not the time for peace. We are not calling for peace. We are calling for justice. The APC-led government should
sound the way you're sounding this morning.
If I'm not in support of what?
If you were not in support of the Labour Party, would you sound the way you're sounding this morning?
If I'm not in support of
the Labour Party,
will I sound the way I'm sounding?
Would you not want peace
as winner, as against APC winning the election? Don't forget, I have a clip which some persons have sent to me. I have a clip last year when I said on one of the national television that the next president is going to come from either APC or PDP. After this interview, I will send it to you privately. You will see it. I said it on a national television. Truly, but that doesn't justify my motive. Right now, I am hurt. Millions of Nigerians are offended. Whether it favors me or not, right? At least by God's grace, I don't think that God has not blessed me, right? I can decide to walk.
Okay, serious concerns.
The network is a serious issue today because we need to be, there's an English word I would use, be able to stand different, when we're having some of these conversations.
Yeah, let's quickly take this call. Anilaju. Hello? Please go ahead, but let's try to avoid so much noise at your background, please.
Yeah, I want to speak on the topic of peace and reconciliation.
Okay, go ahead quickly.
I want to ask you a question. Does reconciliation come before peace or peace comes before reconciliation? And if you have been deprived of peace, do you see calling for reconciliation at this time is wasting its time?
the peace would have been started during the electionary period. But you have frauded the elections, destroyed people of their rights, you disfranchised some, and you are now calling for peace. You say, let's forget and go out.
Thank you. There's so much noise coming in from your background, please. We have to take down that call. But I think his point has
pretty much
been
made
made.
his point.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just a question of some of the things Anilajo was talking about. Our station is going, justice is more important than peace and reconciliation. But I think we are talking process also.
We're talking process.
How we go about this.
We cannot, the truth is, we cannot continue crying over spilled milk. That is just the truth. And we cannot further tear the country apart because we are looking for justice. But I'm going to ask you a question, Anilaju. Fantastic, you have made the position that was the justice that we're seeking.
So this is the real discussion. So this is where we all should be putting our energy. The Nigerian judiciary system has the opportunity now to bring the peace that is needed in Nigeria by doing the right thing. You can't go the wrong way and expect a positive result. You can't take a negative judiciary system to give justice. Let justice be said. Like I said, and you asked me a very straight question. If my candidate lost an election, I am not going to.
We really have to have this conversation. Justice system. Okay, fantastic. Just go ahead on your line of thoughts before I ask my next question.
If we know that the person that have been announced as the winner today actually won the election, let's give room for peace. Let's go ahead. Let the country develop. We kept quiet. It happened during Buhari's time. We said, no, let's give room for peace. Let's move ahead. Saying let's call for peace after every election and throwing away justice. Has he helped us? Has he added to our GDP? Our GDP, every media houses, every Nigerian should be calling for justice and not peace. Because the truth about it is that what we call peace, now Nigeria is not developed. Our currency is going down every day. The rate of unemployment has risen to over 40%, right? And see, true peace, you don't even call for peace, my dear. It's an issue. You do the right thing, everything settles itself. So what me I'm saying is that
Victor Anilaju, let's even come back to the the justice that we're talking about, seeking for justice. It's okay to call for justice, to seek for justice, but in a city, it is the PDP government that won the election, or it's even the Labour Party presidential candidate that won the election. Will that make the judicial system, how do I put it now? Would it make justice that has taken place? Would we say that the judicial system has done us good as a nation?
With the facts that is presented to us. Pardon?
I said that's for you, a Labour Party supporter.
That's not for me.
The APC person will also tell you that APC won the elections.
No. We have evidences. PDP have the same record.
In the
right?
Okay,
so,
go ahead.
So PDP have the records that Labour won. Labour have the record that they won. The international body, because that is just on their own. If you ask me, and that's why you're not getting that respect. If they're not up to 6 for over 100 countries in the world. And to me, anybody that comes on air now to say APC won the election, you are just making a mockery of yourself, because it's obvious to everybody announced that Labour won the election. There was celebration everywhere. I stay in Lagos. The day they announced, INEC announced their choice. And anybody that is just saying Nigerians to keep quiet, you are building a time bomb.
So for you, it is justice first before we begin to talk about 100%. Peace and reconciliation. But it leaves me wondering
of something we have seen over time. Every time there is an election and there is a perceived, I must say, there is a perceived winner of the election, then we now see concessions conceding, or let's concede for peace. Now, when we say let's leave pushing for tribunals and conversations that might, question the system problem in the country. Let the person let the person who was announced as winner just go. Let's just go so that we can have peace. What exactly are we afraid of as a country if an announced president-elect is questioned, if the credibility of an election is questioned?
Election. So those who wants to be announced as the winner, they are always in the side of those who have rigged the election. So whenever you tell them, let us pursue justice, instead of your so-called peace, they are always against it, because they know that following justice will deprive them or will make them not to be announced.
Victor Anilaju, he seems to go for the path of justice first before we even begin to talk about before we begin to talk about peace and reconciliation. But the question is, for how long? Okay, before we put you on again, Anilaju, let's take this particular caller. Please turn down the volume of your television set. Please turn it down totally. Turn it down totally. Hello, go ahead. Go ahead.
So, there's a statement I heard from that man now that Obi win the election. And that is what I'm trying to tell you these people the other time. We go for poll for two reasons. Either for the party or for the candidate. You understand? So now, when you see the Labour Party, now they win the election. So, how many states Obi lead? Now, for you to know that people go for the candidates, they compare PDP and APC. Obasanjo statement motivate them to come out and say that we win the election, Doing that particular head, it's because of the problem within the PDP and the APC, making the man get what he gets. All these are aggressive governors that it's Satana turn. It's no more. It's making Obi get from the PDP. You understand? So let us press obedient people to come out and say that we win the election.
All right, thank you, Larry Raji. Your point has been duly gotten. Thank you for your time.
But I think we need to clear some certain things that he said there. Of course, the Labour Party has won 6 seats in the Senate and 34 seats that the Labour Party did not win any seats in the House of Reps. 6 seats.
We're also trying to have conversations that are devoid of unnecessary emotions.
Yes.
Yeah, also. Okay, so I think we still have Victor.
Let me say it the way it is. The INEC process of election was go to the polling units, cast your votes. At the end, we will to the collation center to announce the results. We have 2 screens. On one screen, it will be showing you what we have online. On the other screen, it will be showing you what we have as our physical copy. The first question I want to ask Mr. Olariwaju, did INEC follow those process units? After INEC have announced the presidential election, it took them two days ago. INEC was still uploading results on their online platform. The question form, then the next thing we announced the results. So why did you bypass the results that you said you are going to post on the online platform and start announcing the results? And after announcing, you are not and have given room for APC to rig the election. Olariwaju is just there like every other APC paid supporter saying what they want to say. But the question I always want to ask, yes or no, we cannot know who is lying or who is not lying. And I know that they will agree with me that INEC did not follow the laid down process. Follow the process. That's all we are saying. Okay. If you have to cancel the election, cancel. Let's go back and follow the process. Okay. I'm not here to be behind the scene. Where did you get the announcement from? You told us, INEC, that on your collation center, you are going to have 2 digital screens. One will show us your online results. One will show us your offline results. On the day you want to announce the results, you now
pick up. I think we saw it on the front page of the newspaper this morning where INEC was saying that a particular process was not mandatory. I read it this morning and I was wondering because it's lining up with the things Victor Anilaju is saying. it was something in your guidelines, and all of a sudden you're saying that particular guideline was not mandatory. Just
Sure. So to crown it all, you now announce the supposed person you felt won the election 4 a.m. in the night. I've never seen an election ceremony that will be announced in the night. What was the rush? And tell you that APC won the election. You are just making a fool of not just yourself, of your parents, of your entire family. Because Nigerians know going forward,
yes,
we are encouraging, we are believing on the judiciary system to actually let justice prevail at this point. But if they fail to do that, whatever be the respect to conduct a free and fair election, they failed. We are taking it to the judiciary system to be able to give justice to the appropriate winner, which is the Labour Party. In case they fail and the citizens act the other way around, I don't think you will not say the citizens are not peaceful people.
Well,
Nigerians are millions of young Nigerians.
Well, you can.
This is
Thank you so much.
Take your interview. Take your interview, please. Next week or this week, take your interview to the streets. And
fantastic. I'm not even against justice, seeking for justice, but let's not seek for justice carrying clubs and sticks and all of that and making more
if
trouble.
That will bring us justice.
It will not, Victor.
Not.
It will not. I think you're Democrat enough to not call for having you on set. Our time is up. We need to go. And serious issues, peace and reconciliation for Victor.
I think the most important thing that we've picked up from this conversation is that justice comes before peace and reconciliation. Whatever is served us as justice, quote and unquote, whatever.
Yes.
Let us be ready to take it
and move forward. Yes. That's just the truth of the matter. It's not a problem of, it's not a thing of you carrying clubs and saying Nigerian youths are protesting. And we do appreciate you for all the calls and all the reactions you have given as to all the things we have actually discussed this morning. We'll definitely be here again tomorrow for more intense conversations. But
and a production crew. Let's do this again tomorrow. Bye-bye.